After 4,610 shows, this week will be Jay Leno's last as the host of The Tonight Show.
You know, you want to be careful if you gamble on the Super Bowl. You know, like last year, I made a Super Bowl bet with Jimmy Fallon. I think we know how that turned out.
Leno and the new host, Jimmy Fallon, say the changing of the guard is a friendly one, and Fallon says the tension surrounding prior host shakeups is a thing of the past.
I don't think for me, I think there's going to be there's never anything tense.
Hey, excuse me, I'm sorry. We get Jay more water.
The Tonight Show launched back in 1954 with host Steve Allen.
Tonight, starring Steve Allen.
Who was replaced by Jack Parr. And then... Johnny Carson would take the helm for the next 3 decades. When he stepped down in 1992, Leno was chosen over the man that many expected to get the job, David Letterman. The next year, when Letterman moved his show to CBS, Leno introduced the world to a new face to take his place, a virtually unknown comedian and writer.
You know, Dave Letterman is a legend here at NBC, and if there's anything that's fun to do, it's replacing legends at NBC. I know.
Jay Leno's 22-year run had some memorable and newsworthy moments, and he was never afraid to get a little serious when needed.
Now I want to ask you about this voter suppression thing. Yeah.
His 22 years as a host is second only to Carson's 30 years. He kept the show at #1 in the late-night ratings, but surrendered the host seat to Conan O'Brien in 2009, only to come back after the transition didn't go over well with viewers. Leno is expected to stay in the public eye a bit with appearances at comedy clubs, but will now have time to focus more on one of his biggest passions, antique cars and motorcycles. The final show this Thursday will feature as his last guest, Billy Crystal, who was also his first.
And here now with more is Ainsley Earhart. He said he does not really want to leave this job.
Yeah, you could tell in that 60-minute interview, couldn't you? He
really
just seemed very numb. His wife was mad about the Conan O'Brien thing, said he had nothing to do with it. But then when you watch his reaction, and I heard many people over the course of the last week talking about this, he just seemed so numb, almost just despondent about leaving.
Yeah, I agree with your analysis. And you know, he says he likes Fallon, but I love my job.
Yeah,
you know, I'd like to keep going, but I understand it, is what he's saying. Well, I don't understand it. If you're #1 in every category, it's not time to go.
Yeah, I know, but I'm sure another network would be glad to pick him up. I mean, his ratings are great.
His ratings are great, but now then he has to move and start all over.
Yeah.
And what time slot does he go in?
Why change what's working? I agree with you.
And this is twice, not once they've done this.
Yeah, I know. And 164 people are getting laid off because they're moving the show, obviously, to New York, where Fallon wants to be. So 164 people are being laid off, and he seems to be such a nice guy because he told NBC Universal, I want to keep my employees on and get them paid for at least 6 months so they can get back on their feet.
I'm going to miss him. I really love his show.
Can you imagine? I mean, you know, once you're in TV, this is such a dream job, and then to say no longer, it'd be really hard.
And it's not a rap against Fallon. I thought it was a perfect 1-2 combo. So, and Fallon's talented, but I don't think we've heard the last.
This
of Jay
won't
Leno.
be the end of Jay Leno.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
All right, Ainsley, good report. Thank you as always. And that's all the time we have left.